In the world of travel journalism, Poppy Wright has the dream job. She is paid to explore the globe, find the most exquisite hidden gems, and write about them for a prestigious magazine. Yet behind the glossy photos and witty prose, Poppy is in a rut. Her writing has grown cynical, focusing more on the gradually decomposing reality of solo travel than the magic of discovery. Her editor Swapna recognizes the burnout and challenges her to rediscover the spark that once made her work essential reading. For Poppy, that spark was always tied to her best friend Alex Nilsson. Poppy and Alex are a study in contrasts. She is a chaotic, impulsive extrovert from East Linfield, Ohio. He is a structured, reserved, and deeply private academic from West Linfield. Their friendship began 10 years prior during a begrudging carpool from their college in Boston back to their shared hometown. What started as an awkward silent drive punctuated by Poppy's spilled hot sauce and Alex's disdain for casual saxophone music, evolved into a profound bond. Despite their differences, they struck a deal. Every summer they would take one vacation together. For nearly a decade, these summer trips were the pillars of Poppy's life. They survived budget motels, missed flights, and various romantic entanglements. However, 2 years ago something went wrong during a trip to Croatia. A rift-formed silence followed and they haven't spoken since. When Poppy learns that Alex's younger brother David is getting married in Barcelona, she sees a final window to repair the bridge. In a moment of impulsive desperation, she calls Alex. To her surprise, he answers. After a clumsy conversation where Poppy lies about a work assignment in Spain to justify her attendance, they agree to meet. The reunion at the airport is charged with the familiar tension of people who know each other too well. As they navigate the vibrant, sun-drenched streets of Barcelona, the narrative frequently drifts back to their history. We see the evolution of their relationship, from the first trip where Alex comforted Poppy over her porny Poppy high school trauma to the moments where Poppy pushed Alex out of his rigid comfort zone. It becomes clear that while they claimed to be just friends, they have always been each other's primary emotional orbit. In the present, the two are forced to share a cramped, eccentric apartment due to a booking error, a classic one-bed trope that forces them into physical and emotional proximity. As the wedding festivities approach, the walls they've built over 2 years start to crumble. Poppy realizes that her professional unhappiness stems from the void Alex left behind. Alex, meanwhile, struggles to maintain his composure. He has always been the steady one, but his breakup with his long-term girlfriend Sarah has left him vulnerable. The tension peaks during a night of heavy rain and honest conversation. The truth of what happened in Croatia finally surfaces. It wasn't a singular argument, but a moment of crossed boundaries, a kiss that neither knew how to categorize, followed by a panicked retreat into silence. They realized that their fear of losing the friendship had prevented them from ever pursuing the love that was clearly blooming between them. At David's wedding, surrounded by the joy of others, Poppy and Alex are forced to confront their own future. Poppy finally admits that she doesn't want to just be on vacation with Alex, she wants him in her everyday mundane life in New York. Alex, ever the realist, fears the logistics of her jet-setting lifestyle versus his grounded career, but he can no longer deny that Poppy is his home. She realizes that travel isn't about escaping who you are, but about finding the person you can be yourself with, no matter where you are on the map. She returns to her writing with renewed vigor, no longer focusing on the putrid decomposition of loneliness but on the enduring connection of two people who were once two ships passing in the night but chose to anchor together. They decide to bridge the distance, proving that while vacations end, a true partnership is the journey itself. In the competitive world of travel journalism, Poppy Wright has reached the pinnacle of her career, yet she has never felt more adrift. Living in a cramped New York apartment, she spends her days writing glossy features that mask a growing cynicism. Her editor Swapna notices that Poppy's work has lost its soul, a shift that began exactly 2 years ago after a disastrous trip to Croatia. Poppy realizes that her unhappiness is tied to the absence of her former best friend Alex Nilsson. Poppy and Alex were an unlikely duo. She was the impulsive, brightly dressed extrovert. He was the reserved, itinerary-loving academic. Their friendship was forged during a college road trip from Boston to their shared hometown of Linfield, Ohio. Despite their polar opposite personalities, Alex's disdain for casual saxophone music, versus Poppy's love for chaotic spontaneity, they formed a sacred pact. Every summer, regardless of where their lives took them, they would take one vacation together. Through a series of evocative flashbacks, the depth of their bond is revealed. During a formative trip to Squamish, Canada, their dynamic is on full display. Alex tries to adhere to a strict itinerary while Poppy insists on winging it. This leads them to a backwoods camping excursion where Alex ends up naked and shivering after his clothes are swept out to sea during a skinny dipping mishap, forcing him to wear one of Poppy's rompers. In New Orleans, they pose as newlyweds named Keith and Gladys to score free beignet, leading to a spontaneous drunken barroom dance to Paula Abdul's Forever Your Girl. Beneath the laughter, however, there was always an unspoken tension, a magnetic pull that neither dared to acknowledge for fear of ruining the only constant in their lives. In the present day, Poppy learns that Alex's brother David is getting married in Barcelona. Seizing this as a final chance to repair their friendship, Poppy reaches out to Alex. To her surprise, he agrees to go. The reunion is fraught with awkwardness, highlighting how much has changed. Alex is now a homeowner mourning the recent death of his grandmother Betty and nursing the wounds of a breakup with his long-term girlfriend Sarah. The Barcelona trip quickly mirrors the chaotic energy of their past vacations. They find themselves in a sweltering apartment with a broken air conditioner that requires resting between every degree of cooling. As Alex uses his mechanical skills to fix the unit, the forced proximity peels back the layers of their 2-year silence. They are no longer the carefree college students they once were. They are adults carrying the weight of grief, career burnout, and the lingering trauma of the Croatia incident. The narrative finally reveals the breaking point in Croatia, a moment of vulnerability where they shared a kiss that felt like more than friendship. Panicked by the intensity of the feeling and terrified of losing his home base, Alex had retreated into silence, and Poppy, feeling rejected, had let the distance grow. As the wedding festivities in Barcelona unfold, the two are forced to confront the reality that they are miserable without each other. Poppy confesses that even when she was traveling to the most beautiful places on earth, she was lonely because she wasn't seeing them through Alex's eyes. Alex admits that his rigid life in Ohio feels hollow without Poppy's chaotic spark. During a rainy night in Spain, the pretense of being just friends finally evaporates. They acknowledge that their summer trips were never just about travel, they were about finding a space where they could truly be themselves. Alex's mother's earlier sex talk and the various vacation Alex personas he adopted over the years were all symptoms of a man deeply in love but afraid to risk his stability. In the resolution, Poppy realizes that she doesn't need to be a jet setter to be happy, and Alex realizes that home isn't a physical house in Linfield, it's a person. Poppy writes a breakthrough article that isn't about destinations but about the person you want to stand next to when the mechanical failures of life happen. They decide to stop being two ships passing in the night and finally commit to a life together, proving that the best destination they ever found was each other. The catalyst for their reunion is the wedding of Alex's brother David in Barcelona. Desperate to reclaim her person, Poppy convinces Alex to take one more trip. The revival of their bond is immediate but fraught with the ghosts of their past. As they navigate a sweltering Barcelona apartment with a broken air conditioner, the film uses flashbacks to illuminate their history. We see their resilience in Norway, where Poppy skipped her dream trip to nurse a feverish Alex, and their playful deception in New Orleans, where they posed as newlyweds to score free beignets. These memories reveal that they have always been a couple in every sense but the physical. The tension in Barcelona reaches a breaking point when Alex's physical and emotional walls crumble. After a night where Alex carries a sprained Poppy back to the hotel only to be interrupted by her current boyfriend Julian, who arrived as a surprise, the complexity of their feelings becomes undeniable. Alex suffers a back spasm, a physical manifestation of the stress of hiding his love. During his recovery, the two finally address the 2 years of silence. Poppy learns of the death of Alex's beloved grandmother Betty and the end of his engagement to Sarah, events he faced without his best friend. The Croatia incident is finally laid bare, a moment of ultimate vulnerability where a kiss changed everything. Terrified of losing the only home he had ever known, Alex had retreated into the safety of his life in Linfield, choosing a predictable path with Sarah over the chaotic uncertainty of life with Poppy. In Barcelona, he finally admits the truth. He didn't ghost her because he didn't care, but because he cared too much. He confesses that he broke off his engagement because Poppy was the reason he couldn't fully commit to anyone else. "I don't want to be your friend, Poppy," he declares, "I want you." Despite a night of passion, the morning brings a familiar fear. Alex, a man of itineraries and stability, asks for a timeline for their future. Poppy, whose identity is built on running away to the next destination, panics. She fears that if she settles down, she will become too much for him to handle every day. They part ways at the airport, seemingly proving Alex's theory that Poppy will always choose a new place over a permanent person. Back in New York, a chance encounter with Alex's ex-fiancée Sarah provides Poppy with a moment of clarity. Sarah reveals that she spent years blaming Poppy for her relationship's failure, only to realize that Poppy had done her a favor by forcing her to confront what she actually wanted. This mirrors Poppy's own epiphany. She realizes that her wanderlust was a mask for her fear of rejection. She writes a resignation letter to R&R, not as an end to her career but as a beginning to her life. She realizes she doesn't need a vacation from her life, she needs the life part itself. The film reaches its emotional climax in Linfield. Poppy, a woman who notoriously hates running, literally runs through the streets of their hometown to find Alex. In a breathless confession, she tells him that for years she thought 1 week a year was all she was allowed to have of him. She realizes now that home isn't a zip code or a landmark, it is the person who makes you feel safe enough to be yourself. She chooses Alex, and in doing so she chooses to stop running. The story concludes with a glimpse into their new reality. Alex has moved to New York to teach at Sarah Lawrence College, and Poppy continues to write, but with a voice that is now grounded and authentic. They have integrated their lives, proving that the greatest adventure isn't a solo trek across the globe but the daily commitment to the person you love. They still take their summer trips, but now the destination is secondary. As Poppy reflects in her final column, home doesn't have to be a place at all. When you are with the person who loves you for exactly who you are always home, even on vacation. If you enjoy watching this video, then subscribe to Angel Recaps for the latest movies explanation.